Story 1. Bully embarrassed herself at reunion and I let it happen.
A woman I went to high school with grew up to be a self-obsessed, obnoxious lawyer who asked on my Facebook wall whether my kids have autism because I let them watch too much TV. Go F yourself. So at our 30-year reunion, she came right up and hugged me like she wasn't the biggest a-hole around. She was wildly underdressed in jeans and t-shirt. Immediately I noticed that her fly was down, and not just down but gaping so her panties showed. This is so petty. I saw it. I smiled at her, made small talk for a moment, and moved on with my evening. It was a pretty big break of girl code, but seeing her fly down in all the pics posted to FB that night. NGL, it felt pretty damn good.
Comment 1. Sometimes you don't have to actually do anything to feel like you've been vindicated. And surely you'd have told her. If you had noticed. LOL.
Comment 2. No one else told her to. LOL. Comment 3. Sometimes, you gotta just let what happens, happen. And you didn't have to lift a finger. Comment 4. I was working the register, a woman came up and decided to be rude. I didn't tell her the buttons across her bust had failed and her bra and chest was hanging out.
Story 2. I will physically explode if I don't tell someone about this right now.
It's random and not that serious, but I am dying and have to get this out, LOL. Got my first big tattoo today. I've been planning it for years and was really excited about it. My family aren't super into tattoos, but I sent it to our group chat anyway. My mom, who is often nasty for no real reason, responds, "How much did that cost you? Send me my money." I never borrow money, I just needed physical cash a few days ago and my mom had some, so she gave that to me and I bank transferred her. She obviously didn't see the transfer, okay, but is it hard to ask nicely? I was so salty, LOL. But I politely point out that I actually sent it already. She ignores me, no worries, but am still quietly annoyed. About an hour later, she messages me asking how to log in to my Apple TV. ID recommended a TV show and gave her my login details last week, but she was having issues logging in. I didn't open the message and instead chose to sit in my little petty satisfaction bubble. After a few frustrated messages, I stop hearing from her. Check my Apple TV app and see that yes, she managed to log in and had started watching that TV show. I've watched it and I know that it hooks you good in the first 15 to 20 minutes, on the edge of your seat waiting to find out what's happening kind of thing. So, I wait until I know she'd be right into it. Log into my account. Change password. Log out of all devices. Not even 2 minutes later, she's messaging me on all platforms trying to get me to help her log in. Like fully blowing up my phone with messages, LOL. I haven't opened a single message, stayed inactive on all platforms, she'll think I'm asleep. I'm really sitting here kinda scared? I don't know why, but freaking exhilarated.
Comment 1. If you wanted to be extra petty, you could have replied and said I canceled it to save money to get a tattoo. Comment 2. So reset the password back to the original one, then play dumb. Repeat every 10 minutes, smiley face.
Comment 3. Scared the same way you would be if you were a child and were worried about being in trouble with your parents. Scared because children setting boundaries wasn't normalized in your house growing up. Scared because you're not used to standing up to your mom and are subconsciously concerned about the fallout. All very normal, so no worries. Sometimes, you'll feel weak and physically shake from the adrenaline resulting from the fear. As you get used to setting boundaries, it gets a tad less scarier every time. Edited to add, the body is going into flight mode when you feel scared, so running in one spot, if you can't/don't want to go running, will help you relax. You'll likely feel ridiculous in the moment, and that's okay. Comment 4. What TV show was she watching?
Story 3. Saw the boss who fired me yesterday and it's not going well for him.
3 years ago, I was fired from a stained glass studio where I worked as an artist, glass painter and designer, for being vocal about company safety. The owner made me the safety person because I had come from a studio that took safety seriously. I read OSHA manuals and gave so many suggestions about unsafe practices we had in the studio handling lead, acid, and other dangerous materials. After a few years of my suggestions being mostly ignored, someone, actually not me, called OSHA during COVID when my coworkers were not masking. The boss suspected it was me since I was the most vocal about safety, and they rehired my replacement shortly after, removed my safety person duties, and fired me after enough time had passed that it wouldn't look suspicious. They cited lack of work but had just hired someone and were firing me instead? It doesn't add up. All in all, this was a place where my contributions and expertise were largely unacknowledged and unappreciated. At the time, I had been pursuing my own work as an artist. When I was fired, I had no idea how or if I would be able to make ends meet in Los Angeles, but I did. In fact, this firing was the best thing that could have happened for my career. Last night, I saw this boss/owner at an event. The studio is doing so poorly that he had to cut everyone's hours to 2 days a week. Many people are looking for new jobs. He said, "I heard you had a show, and yes, I actually have a solo show up with a major gallery, have more than $30,000 in savings, and so much work on the horizon I'm booked through 2026. I said, "Yes, things are going really well," and flashed him a huge smile. Success is truly the best revenge.
Comment 1. Check out OSHA whistleblower protection.
Comment 2. Congratulations and very well done. Comment 3. Your boss is dumb if he thinks you called OSHA. You were in charge of safety for 3 years and never called OSHA. Then randomly change your mind? It was either a newish hire or somebody whose family member was affected by COVID. Comment 4. He's a complete POS for putting his workers' lives at risk. Congratulations to you.
Story 4. Long game Christmas revenge on my wife.
My father bought a book for me last week. It's something he saw by chance and knew I was interested in the subject. He gave it to me in front of my wife, who grabbed it and told us that it would do as a Christmas gift for me from one of the kids. I understood where she was coming from because I am a nightmare to buy for because I have enough. But I wanted her to suffer a little, so coming home from work I saw a jewelry store was having a sale. They were getting rid of old stock ready for Christmas. I saw something that my wife had been hinting at, so I phoned her asking if we had X amount of money in the account for me to get it. I knew we had, but I wanted her to bite. She did. I got the item and told her she would have to Christmas Day to see what it was. She's been asking me 4 times a day and texting me all the time asking what it is. All I say is it's something from your Christmas list. A long, slow, petty revenge, but shall be happy on the day.
Comment 1. I hope you don't break. The not knowing will drive them nuts. Comment 2. I remember the Christmas I was 5 or 6. Mom asked Dad what he wanted for Christmas and he jokingly replied he wanted a money tree, so Mom had one of my brothers cut down a little tree, stuck it on my sand bucket that she decorated and filled with soil. Then we kids had a blast in the weeks before Christmas, earning money in secret and taping our little contributions to the branches. Quarters, dollars, dimes, nickels. A tiny sapling covered in tape and our earnings. We thought it looked wonderful. Dad thought it was hilarious. I'm sure he was especially touched knowing we kids had literally worked on it for weeks with chores and odd jobs.
Comment 3. You, my sir, are a petty man and husband. As a wife that's had this done to her, I need to extract my revenge on my own husband this year now that I remember. Comment 4. I thought you were going to give it to your mom from your kids.